Hi there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder here with the Dominaria United pre-release kit opening and deck build with this. So I haven't actually even looked at this set. I have no clue what's contained in it. So learning these cards is going to be new for me. I hope that you will enjoy my enthusiasm or lack of enthusiasm when I read these cards and see what we'd build with the pre-release kit. So pre-release is this weekend here at Gone Rogue Games. We have plenty of slots open. If you're local, come in and play. If you're not local, go to your local game store. Support them. Come on, it's time to get back into these pre-releases. This is the best way to experience Magic. I am still a limited player at heart. Pre-releases, when everything is brand new and fresh, is the most enjoyable way to play Magic. Maybe one of these years I'll get back into Constructed. I am planning on doing a top 10 video of cards that I want to brew with Dominaria United. And now that we're approaching into the fall, that's typically when I get more active on YouTube, and maybe I'll start playing some MTG Arena, MTGO again, and doing some good old classic Rogue Deck Builder brews. Anyway, that is videos for other days. Let's get into the pre-release kits. So you get a boring dice. I wish they'd go back to doing like some specialty dice, because there's so many of this crap. The camera does not want to focus here, of these particular color schemes. This is a spin down die, not a random die like the Dungeons & Dragons, of course, because there's no rolling dice in this set as far as I'm aware. How about an arena code for some people out there? There's an arena code that you are more than, I guess, first person can redeem this. I'm not sure if it's active quite yet, but there you have it. I wonder why my camera does not want to focus. Focus, Mr. Camera. One of these years I'll figure everything's out. All adult and start doing the YouTube properly. A little divider, flimsy divider. And my pre-release card is going to be the Leaf Crowned Visionary. Other elves you control get +1. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay 1 to draw a card. Wow, that's actually a powerful card, even in like Modern or Legacy, I would say. So maybe I can get this to focus, Mr. Come on, camera. My camera does not want to focus today. There you go. The Leaf Crowned Visionary. 1/1 for 2, and yeah, it's a Lord, and it's not legendary. I think this is a pretty good card. Very good card. Pumps up all your elves. Elf Ball definitely will want these suckers. It's a draw outlet too, so you might not even have to play some of the traditional draw outlets like a, yeah, because that can come out and then, but you don't have to pay 1 every time. I'm not sure if it's better to have the one that just draws you a card for free but costs more. I think the pumping elves, of course, will put that over the top. So hopefully we can get enough elves to actually make that work. Probably not. That's the problem with pre-release, is you can't go like a monocolored. We'll have to wait and see if we get plenty of cards. So we have the Tolarian Terror, 5/5. The spells cost 1 less for each instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. This actually seems super playable even in Pauper. As you can fill up your graveyard and basically cost this for 1, so 5/5 for 1. Yeah, super playable card. It's also got Ward 2, very good card. The Benelish Sleeper, if it's kicked, each player sacks a creature, a 3/1 though, so it's very playable, and just like a mono white aggro or a white aggro shell, splash any red, green, whatever color you're going with white aggro. And if of course you're going to black, it gets a additional ability to force people to sack stuff. The Shadow Prophecy Domain, look at topics card library, X number of basic land types you control, put 2 of them in your hand. So basically, in a 2-color deck, this is useful, of course, not in a monocolor deck. It's instant speed, though, which is pretty good. And if you're playing even more, you do have the basic land types, too, so it might even be like viable if you have enough of these in your deck to splash a tap land, just to make this be able to search for a little bit more of the top card of your library. So yes, I've seen the dual lands from this set. That's one thing I have seen. I've seen bits and pieces of this set. The Talus Lookout, flying 3/2. When it dies with the top 2 cards of the library, put 1 in your hand and another graveyard. Very good card at common. It's going to be evasive. It's going to get value when it dies. It's a pirate too. So pirates are in this. So we have the Charismatic Guard, 3/2. That's pretty good for 3 mana with a pump spell. It's a good like 20 to 24 pickup, I would say, from this card. The Snare Spinner, we've seen this card before. It's a reprint. There is our Mountain Forest Wooded Ridgeline. Citizen's Arrest, enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker your opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So typically there's one of these printed in every set. The Eerie Soul Tender, mill 3 cards, 3 mana. Exile Eerie Soul Tender from your graveyard, return another target creature card from your graveyard hand. That's actually quite good. It is a little bit costly for the 3 mana for 3/1. You do get a mill 3, so that can work. And then that ability is actually pretty decent. So it's like a 2 for 1. Throw Possibilities, a reprint. Cleaving Sky Rider, kicker 3. When it enters the battlefield, if it's kicked, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of attacking creatures. It's got flash on it. Very, very expensive spell, though, to like kill something. That'd be 6 mana for a 2/2. And then it wouldn't even be... deals X damage where X is the number of attacking... Okay, so you can actually use it on your opponent's turn, so you don't have to attack with it. So you flash it and your opponent attacks with stuff, and then you can... yeah, you can hit something your opponent... Yeah, I'm reading that correctly. So it's just your opponent. It triggers off your opponent's attacking creatures too. The Balduvan Atrocity, 3 mana for a Menace 2/3 with a kicker of a red. When Atrocity enters the battlefield with a kicker, return target creature card with a mana value 3 or less. From your graveyard to the battlefield against haste, sacrifice the beginning of next end step. There's definitely value out of this, especially if you get some ETB triggers with 3 or less. Like we have, I thought we had a couple things here that you know can get some value. Like there is some stuff like the Benelux Sleeper. There's kind of a wombo combo there. And you bring it back in, and after you've kicked it to kill itself, then you can bring it back in for value with the Atrocity. This seems like this is going to be a grindy format. We have the Aaron, Benalia's Ruin. Menace, you can sacrifice a creature, put a +1 creature on each creature control. This is super powerful and limited. The Menace is good, but the stats are good. A little bit hard for the casting cost for the 2 and the black. But being able to combat trick this, like, you know, chump block and then give everything +1/+1, super, super powerful ability. It turns all of your kind of garbage cards into late game pumps. If there's white flyers in the format, this is good. Black Menace cards, of course, is good. It can pump itself up. And we get our first mythic, which is great. This is what you want out of pre-release. You want mythics that are very... the ability to play these in any deck. So we have the Weatherlight Completed, flying as long as Weatherlight Completed has 4 or more Phyrexius counters on it. It's a Phyrexian creature in addition to those 2 types. And whoever creature you control dies, put a Phyrexius counter on Weatherlight Completed, then draw a card. If it has 7 or more Phyrexius counter, if it doesn't, scry 1. So it's definitely, the draw card is really good. So whenever creature you control dies, put a counter on it, and then draw a card if it has 7 or more. If it doesn't scry. So you're going to scry every time it dies, and finally when it gets 4. So you need 4 creatures to die, and then it becomes a creature. So you can't crew this unless there's other ways to force crew with Weatherlight Completed, but I think there is. There might be in this format ways to animate this or force crew it. But it's going to be a 5/5. Very little investment for it for a 5/5 for 2 mana. And then the scrying is actually very good. It already has synergy with the Anron, and we have synergy with the let's see, the Benelux Sleeper. So these are quite good already. So far with the first pack, black-white is definitely in the lead. Apologize again for the camera. Does not want to focus here. There we go. Maybe we'll get good focusing on. All right, hold up 1 minute. We are professional here at Gone Rogue Games / Rogue Deck Builder. There we go. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good for the Scavenger. Look at topics cards were number of basic lands. Put one of those cards in your hand and the rest on the bottom. Super, super strong card. That is just put one of them. You may put one of those cards on top of your library. Oh, okay. So it puts it on top of the library. It doesn't draw. I'm like, wow, that's just a 3/2 draw, no matter what. But nope, that's not how it works. Benelux Faithbonder, Vigilus, Enlist. As this creature attacks me, tap another non-attacking creature. When you do, add its power to this creature's. That's pretty good for tapping those 3/1s down. So it can become like a 4/3 and attack. It's got Vigilance too, which is pretty good because then it can block on the backside. Death Touch and a Mana Ramp. That's kind of cool. With the Elf Druids, there's our first elf we can add to our elf pile. The Collision Warbrute, Enlist, and Trample. Neat little card with the Enlist ability. And a non-tapping. So it's not any number, it's just a non-tapping. So you can't like tap all your creatures. So we have Extinguished Light, great removal spell. Destroy target creature, planeswalker. If its mana value is 3 or less, you gain 3 life. But it's just instant speed, 4 mana, kill anything. Man, we are definitely in black so far with these 2 packs. It's going to really take a lot to push us over. Time of Interference, creature gets -1, -0. If the spell is kicked, that creature blocks. This turn is able, and then you draw a card. This is actually a pretty good cantrip to get spells into the graveyard. So 1 mana, you just draw a card, and then give a creature -1, -0. This is super, super strong. And then you can force something to block, so it actually can be a removal. Man, camera, focus. I think my autofocus is off. Tribute to Urborg. Creature gets -2 and -2. If the spell is kicked, that creature gets an additional -1, -1 until in turn for each instant sorcery. It's super okay. You saw a lot of 3/1s in this format, a lot of 1/1 Death Touch already. So the -2 needed for 2 mana is very playable. And then if you happen to be able to splash it, it's even that much better. Shore Up, Hexproof, +1/+1, Hexproof, untap for 1 mana. Seems pretty decent. Way to protect your cards, a way to combat trick. So I'm liking like the blue spells route. I'm also liking black-white so far. The Sunbathing Root Wild is a 2/2, and then Domain gets +1/+1 for each type. We got a Radiant Grove. The Yosha declares war. You get a 0/2 Thopter artifact creature with named Ornithopter. You tap any number of artifacts you control. When you do, it deals that much damage to target creature Planeswalker, so at least it can do 1. And up to 1 target artifact you control becomes a 4/4 base power, toughness 4/4 until end of turn. It's a way you can crew that vehicle. Tail Swipe, choose creature control and target creature you don't control. If it's casting your main phase, the creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and then they fight. So it's a 1-mana fight instant speed, which is super strong. It's just a strictly better Prey Upon, because Prey Upon is what, sorcery speed? Now we have the Queen Alelin of Arudak. The good thing is it's double white, so if we're splashing green in this, and it is an elf too, there is some synergy with our black-white deck so far. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created. Why does it make an elf? You are an elf. Why don't you make an elf? I guess maybe some sort of lore with it. And the power and toughness is equal to how many creatures, so yeah, it wants to create tokens. So far, not seeing a lot of token generation. And now we got an on color, and it's really good because the red seems like it's the best splash here for our cards. We have the Archangel of Wrath, kicker, or Flying Lifelink when enters the battlefield with his kick deals 2 damage to any target, and when enters the battlefield with his kick twice deals 2 damage to any target. So you can do it twice. A 3/4 flying, lifelink for 4 mana, super strong. We have with these packs already, just these 2 packs, we have a very strong pre-release. Very, very strong one so far. Too bad our promo is kind of off. We have 3 elves so far that works with it, and look at this. We get a Bone Splinter. It works with the sacrifice by getting value off of the Weatherlight to sacrifice stuff. Just sacrifice creature, destroy creature. Very good. We have in a list, destroy it to sacrifice, destroy an artifact, which is super strong too. 2/2 in list is not bad. Negate. Hero's Charge. Creatures get +2/+1. If it's kicked, they also gain trample. Good combat trick if you go wide. Colossal Growth plus Super Sleeve of the spell's kicked, it gets +4/+4 and trample and haste for 3 mana. Pretty good for the Colossal Growth. I'm liking these cards. They seem to got rid of a lot of the draft trash and made everything relevant. We have an Inlet, Phyrexian Warhorse, which is on color again for what we're looking for. When there's a battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature if it's kicked. Sacrifice another creature, he gets +2/+1. Really works with our Weatherlight and getting some stuff out. Salt Marsh, really good on color. The Cavalier enters the battlefield, create a 1/1. This is looking like a very, very strong deck so far by creating the 1/1s and getting things online. We have Scry 2, then draw a card. If the spell was kicked, you may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield. So 3 mana, Scry 2, draw a card, put a land. Very solid card. So Ramp is back in these colors, in the Simic colors. So I think this will be playable and definitely playable in Standard. A little bit worse than some of the iterations we've seen in the past, but Scry 2, draw a card, play land is pretty decent. Scry 2, draw a card for 2 mana is good already. It's just basically like an Anticipate. Warhorse Frenzy, kicker, cool, it's in black. Creatures get +2/+0 if the spell is kicked whenever a creature dies this turn, draw a card. It's actually super strong with what we're doing, just to kick it to draw cards and then sack stuff. Instant speed's pretty good too. Yeah, it's definitely playable. Now we have Nail, Aviso Aeronaut. So, Domain, whenever it deals damage to a player, look at the top X cards library, X number of basic lands. Among lands you control, put one of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom. If there are 5 more basic land types among lands you control, then you draw a card. So, it puts it on top. It wants you to have all 5, which is tough. I guess maybe not with this, with all the basic land types. It is an elf, too. So, we'll put that with the elves. We have the Voldalian Mindsinger, a 2/2, and enters the battlefield with 2/+1 counters for each time it was kicked. And when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature with power less than the power for as long as you control the Mindsinger. So this is a super powerful card as well. You can just take, for 3 mana, you can take something that has 2 power or less. But unfortunately, it's not in the color scheme that I want to build at the moment. The Academy Wall, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This ability triggers once per turn. Not a bad card to fill up your graveyard. Defender 0/5. And we got our first little Stained Glass Island and a Sapperling token. 3 more packs to go. Still looking, I'm liking blue-green now. I actually am really liking blue-green. I think it is pretty clutch. We got the Bone Splinters again, which is super good, and Negate, which is super okay. Another Heroic Charge, another Colossal. The Jazz Fire NATO deals 5 minutes to a creature. Planeswalker, very splashable. Scry, sorcery speed, sure. Still, Marduk's looking like the way to go. Gibbering Barricade, you sacrifice your draw, game of life, draw a card. We've seen these before. Defender 2/4 stats is okay. The whole point to our deck, anyways, to get to our bombs, which would work. There's a Plains Island, another Phyrexian Warhorse, which is perfect. Another Islet. You could definitely go 5 colors in this format. Then we have the Molten Tributary, the Runic Shot, destroy target tap creature. If this spell is kicked, scry 2. Very playable. Even sorcery speed, sometimes these can be a trap card because you have to wait for something gets tapped. But it's playable for sure. We have the Monstrous Warleech. Enters the battlefield, you mill 4 cards if it's kicked, and then its power and toughness equal to the highest mana value on cards in your graveyard. Definitely some combos with this I'm sure you could find. Cut Down. Nice. Another removal spell. Destroy a creature's total power and toughness 5 or less for 1 mana. Very decent early way to kind of hold things off. Another Elf Artificer. Tap an untapped non-token artifact you control to add. Green Deer Mana Pool, which is super strong with treasures. Wow, this card is insane. And tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts. Non-token. Ha ha ha. I can't read. So you do have to have non-token. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn by tapping 2 non-token artifacts. It is an elf, but, I mean, another elf that is not on color. 3/3 for 3 mana is pretty good. Doesn't create like a... I guess it doesn't want non-token artifacts, but we haven't really have a lot of non-tokens. We have the Weatherlight that could play early. We have a Splatter Goblin. 2/1. When it dies, target creature and opponent control gets -1/1. Fine, works with our sacrifice stuff. We have the Volshe Tide Hunter to spend instant sorcery or kick spells. We've seen this card printed before, right? It's very similar to another card in the original Dominaria. Whenever 7 Herbalist becomes tapped, you gain a life and scry 1. Not bad because this has like enlist combos. Bite Down. Target creature deals damage to a creature or planeswalker you don't control. 2 mana. Great card. We have the Amplifier. When it enters the battlefield, if it's kicked, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. And whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, it gets +2/+0. Wow, very pauper playable. Very pauper playable. It's like it's Kiln Fiend-ish. And then the kicker might put it over the top to bounce something. Cool card. Withering Necromance. 5/5 Death Toucher, and it costs 1 less for each creature in your graveyard. Which we do have like a mill strategy sort of going on. Another Forest Plains, which is great. Another one of these Root Wallows. Another Shore Up. Flowstone Kavu, which has the pump, a little bit of Pump and Menace. The Mossbeard Ancient gains 5 life, 7 mana, Trample. Good little finisher. The Noshiba Brawler power is equal to number of basic land types you control. So it's going to be a 1/3 Trampler at least. 2/3 is very, very easy. Pretty decent card. And we have Urg, a Spawn of Turg. Urg, Spawn of Turg. Very splashable if we could go into green. And green actually looks like it might be as good as red. At this point, we have like some removal spells in green. We have some stuff that could make this work. Power toughness equal to the number of land cards in your graveyard. At the end of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card in your graveyard and sacrifice a land to gain 2 life. Interesting card for sure. And got another on color, I guess, what we're going for with our strategy. With a 2 mana, 2/2 other soldiers get +1/+1. We have that kind of soldier strategy as well. And exile Valiant Veteran from your graveyard. Put a +1 counter on each soldier. So, yeah, now green actually. The green splash or the red splash looks pretty good because we do have ways that make tokens. Yeah, I think that so far it's the green splash. And then we do have some lands that go. I think we have 2 of the Radiant Groves. No, we don't. Just 1 Radiant Grove is what I have so far here. Unless I got some more in here. I'm not the most organized at the moment with doing this. But, with 2 Tingled Islets. Yeah, we have 2 Radiant Groves. So 2 Radiant Groves. And we do have the black-white land as well. So it'll be quite easy to splash for these type of token generation stuff. And we do have those pump spells we wanted to. But I think that that's the route I go. It's just like we have lots of ways to utilize it to sacrifice them. And the green actually seems super, super strong. Then we get something like this. Gain control of target creature. And then it sacks if it's kicked. Like the red had some interesting little splash stuff. That Saga was pretty neat. Like the Walduvan Atrocity was kind of neat too. But all in all, I think green's more powerful. But we still have this last pack to go. We have a Pumpable Flyer. decent little 20 to 24th pickup. Tidepool Turtle, Scry. The Artillery Blast deals X damage target tap creature, where X is 1. Plus number of basic land types, another removal spell that works with us. The Llanowar Stalker enters the battlefield under your control. It gets whenever another creature gets +1/+0 until end turn. Actually works with our token strategy. It's another elf, but I really don't think we have enough elves to make the elves work. Enters the battlefield, you search your library for a creature card with Defender, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Oh, wow. Do we have enough Defenders to actually work with this sucker? That's kind of cool. 4 mana, go get a Defender. We have the Tellurian Geyser. Return target creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. If the spell was kicked, you gain 3 life. There's 3 mana bounce stuff, draw a card's pretty good. There we go, Defender strategy with the Coral Colony. That'll be fun to draft for sure. The Codex, draw a card. It costs 1 less for each basic land type. This is definitely playable because it will end up costing 2 draw a card for us. So late game, fill back up. We're going to play a lot of removal. And look at this, another on-color card. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. Very, very strong card that goes perfect with our sacrifice, create token strategy. And the Llanowar Green Widow, reach, trample, domain, return Llanowar Green Widow from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped against this permanent will leave the battlefield exile instead of putting it anywhere else. This ability costs 1 less. So a reach trampler, 4/3, 3 mana. Strong. Good card. So yeah, green would be the way to go. And we have the Walking Bulwark as a defender. Until turn, target creature with defender against haste can attack. And assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. That's pretty decent. So it can actually make itself do that. I think it's like playable by itself. We could go like a small little defender strat. But this is what I'm looking at. I'm thinking we have a strong like splash green. Definitely strong splash green type. Like even this is very playable, 4/4. And lots of those cards. So that's the route I'd go with this is just play a lot of, there's a lot of control in black, lots and lots of control. We got the lands to really support it. You know, we got decent little lands to support our strategy here. And all in all, I would be very happy with this pre-release kit. Looks like an interesting set. There's a lot of synergies. Should be fun to play. Go check out your local game store. If you're here local, come down to Gone Rogue Games. Excuse the dog barking in the background. This has been Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.